happening here at the zoo? We were hearing that one of the animals escaped.
Well, first I want to report that all of our guests, all of our staff, and all of our cheetahs are safe, and the cheetahs are back in holding right now. But what happened was one of our cheetahs was able to somehow get out of the main enclosure and go up behind the fence in Cheetah and was laying in some landscape behind a barrier between the exhibit and guests. And when our staff noticed that, we immediately went into our crisis protocol, which we practice all the time. We do drills all the time in case this would ever happen. Immediately, all guests were taken out of the area. The zoo went on a lockdown. And what happens is all the guests are taken to safe places and buildings, and the doors are locked. No one can come in or out of the zoo. Our emergency response team went to the cheetah area. The cheetah was still lying down in the landscape area. They were able to dart it and sedate it. Once it was darted, it immediately went back down into the exhibit and went into holding on his own.
So the cheetah was only darted one time?
Yeah.
Is this the first time the zoo has had to use darts on an animal?
I am not sure about that, but I know as far as the cheetah exhibit, we've been open for 5 years with this exhibit, and we've never had an issue with the cheetah. We do have 2 new male cheetahs. They're brothers, they're young. They could have, getting used to their new area. So we had never imagined anything like this would happen. The exhibit has been safe, and we've never seen this before. So we are going to make sure that they are kept off exhibit until we're 100% sure about what happened while we do this investigation. At that point, once we figure out what we need to do to ensure that this will never happen again, then they would be able to go out. But it will be a while before we know exactly what happened and what we have to do.
And we understand there was what the zoo calls a code red. Can you explain
Yeah,
to us what that is?
Yeah, code red is an animal escape, and everyone is alerted immediately through radio and through phone text so that everyone knows what they need to do. We practice this all the time, and we do it with all different animals throughout the zoo. Different animals would require a different kind of approach. If an animal is out in the main exhibit or a secondary exhibit, and then we practice those, and everyone has to go through their certain protocol.
Are most of these exhibits, do most of them have a secondary security area?
Yes.
Are guests being refunded if they were affected or had to leave the zoo early, didn't want to stay?
If any guest has any kind of issue or concern, they can certainly work through our volunteer services, and we'll help them out with that.
Can you give us a timeline from what time it was recognized that cheetah had escaped to the time the lockdown was
Sure.
lifted?
I don't have an exact time, but I will say that I was notified a little bit before 10 o'clock that we had a code red. We all immediately came in and went to our spots, or the personnel that was here did what they had to do. Security immediately locked down the zoo, immediately sent guests to the safe areas that we have designated that we practice. They go into buildings that are locked. We cleared the plains area. We brought in our safety team. That safety team is skilled and practices what they have to do in case of an animal escape. Once they approached the cheetah area, the cheetah was behind the barrier fence between the exhibit and public space. They darted the cheetah, and it immediately went down back into the exhibit.
With the safety team, how often do they practice for something like this?
Frequently. I don't know an exact number, but we're constantly getting an alert that, hey, today we're going to practice this kind of drill, we're going to practice this kind of escape. And we have a team on site 24 hours a day that are able to dart, or if we, in a terrible situation, would have to take down an animal. But in this case, we did not have to do that.
So what's next? Now that the lockdown has been lifted, kind of what's the rest of the day for the zoo going to be like?
Well, the rest of the day is a complete investigation, making sure that everyone walks through what they saw, what they did as a team. We'll review it. We'll start taking a look at the space. We've been back there most of the morning looking at the area where this happened. We'll take a look and see what we have to do. And like I said, until we're 100% sure that we know what we have to do to take care of this, we will not let the cheetahs back out on exhibit until we figure it out.
Is the zoo open at 10 today?
The zoo is open, yeah.
But at 10?
Zoo open at 9.
Okay,
yeah.
So people were inside?
Yes, people were inside the zoo. I think that some guests were close, and immediately when the staff saw it, got the guests out of the way, and we called a code red and immediately got all of the guests to safety throughout the entire zoo. If there's ever a code red, the whole zoo is locked down. Doesn't matter where it is. Immediately staff members know to get all guests to safe areas, and then the staff, the emergency team, goes to the location.
Have you ever had an escaped animal before, or is this a...
I have heard years ago there was a kangaroo that had escaped, and